shortcut?
I understand you arrived unexpectedly.
Yes, I came down to do a bit of shopping and surprise my little girl in. We practically came in together. She spent the night with my niece and her husband, 86th Street. They had a rather late party and Linda just decided to. I don't understand how these young people do it. Doesn't she look silly this time of day? Linda, darling, do it up and change. Why don't you meet me for lunch at the hotel? Can you do that?
Of course, Mother dear.
I'm at the Roosevelt, darling. Shall we say 1 o'clock?
Of course, Mother darling.
Well, I must run along. I'm only going to be here a day or two, and, well, goodbye.
Oh, well, goodbye. It's been so nice. I'm always happy to meet the parents of our girls, and I hope that whenever you're in the city again, you won't fail to drop in on us. Well, goodbye.
Are you going to play that at your concert?
Yes.
When's it going to be?
In the spring.
Whereabouts? Town hall?
Yes, yes.
Are you going to play under your own name?
Certainly.
Well, you've got an interesting name. Olga Brandt. It sounds like a musician, but Bernice Niemeyer, I think that's what's holding me back in the theater. Did you know what? I thought maybe I'd take on one of those one-word names the way some actresses do. I thought, instead of Bernice Niemeyer, I'd just call myself Zara!
Footlights above.
Yes, sir.
Is Terry Randall present?
Yes, sir. Just go in and sit down. I'll tell Miss Terry you're here.
I tell you, there's something mysterious going on in this house.
We must call the police.
Last night, I heard moans and shrieks. And this morning, a dead man was found on the doorstep, his head completely severed.
What about the blood in the library? Dad!
Terry!
Oh, Dad, darling!
Glad to see me.
Glad, I should say so. It's been almost a year.
Too long, my dear. Too long to be separated. Let me look at you.
Bursting with health talk.
Look kind of peaked to me. Eat enough greens.
Greens, I'm a regular Miss Popeye. Now let me look at you. Say
Ah.
Say ooh.
Ooh.
Say you love me.
I love you.
Oh, now come on and tell me everything. How's Aunt Lucy? Is she taking good care of you?
Say, you know, Lucy, you think I was 10 years old.
Oh, I know. Wear your rubbers. Have you got a clean handkerchief? Didn't she fuss about you driving all this way?
Carried on like mad.
How did you get here so early? You said afternoon. What happened?
Well, when Stacy invited me to come east with him, I didn't know what kind of driver he was. Turns out he's one of those fellows who slows down to 80 going through a town. I dozed off for a couple minutes once and missed all of Pennsylvania.
You shouldn't have done it, but it does give me more time with you.
Now maybe you have things to do. You weren't expecting me till 3 or 4.
Oh, I've got nothing but a silly radio rehearsal. You know, I'm the big butter and egg girl. I'll be all through by 1:15. Let's have lunch way up on top of something, shall we?
That's fine. Gives me time to drop in at the polyclinic a few minutes. 345 West 50th Street. Where is that?
Oh, it's not 5 minutes from here. And I'll pick you up from your hotel. Where are you?
New Yorker. Stacy's idea. Full of go-getters.
After lunch, we'll whirl all over town. We'll see everything. And tonight, we're going to the theater, and he's taking us to dinner.
Ah, yes, your young man. I want to meet the boy.
And now, Dad, remember, he's not like the boys back in Elvira.
Say, they're not like that anymore either.
Yes, but you've never met anyone like Heath before in your life. He's brilliant, and he's written the most marvelous play, and he hates the government, and he won't wear evening clothes.
Sounds as if he didn't have a nickel.
Oh, but he will have. This play's going to put him over. It's thrilling and beautiful, and... Oh, Dad, I'm going to play the leading part!
Why, Tress, that's wonderful. Your mother would have been very proud.
Of course he hasn't sold the play yet, but he will. He's bound to.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to come back and see you in it, even if it takes my last nickel.
Dad,
Yes, Tress?
You look as though you've been working too hard. Have you?
Well, I wish I could say I had, but the truth is, my waiting room looks pretty bleak these days.
But isn't anybody sick at all? What about old Mrs. Wainwright?
Oh yes, folks get sick all right.
Well then,
Well, it just seems being a medical man isn't enough these days. If you had a cold, we used to just cure the cold. But nowadays the question is, why did you get the cold? Turns out it's because subconsciously, you didn't want to live. And why didn't you want to live? Because when you were 3 years old, the cat died and they buried it in the backyard, and you were in love with that cat. So naturally, 40 years later, you catch cold.
but who tells them all this?
Why, a new fellow came to town a few months ago, opened up offices.
Oh,
Sun lamps, x-ray machines, office fixed up like a power plant. He's the one looking after Mrs. Wainwright. She's bedridden with sciatica, arthritis, and a heart condition. But fortunately, it's all psychic.
but Dad, do you mean he's taken away your whole practice from you?
Oh, no, not as bad as that. The factory folks still come to see me.
But they haven't any money.
They still have babies.
Never you mind. I'm gonna buy you the biggest, shiniest sun lamp machine ever invented, and fluoroscopes and microscopes and stethoscopes and telescopes. You'll be able to sit in your office, turn a button, and look right through Mrs. Wainwright, 6 blocks away.
How about the new doctor? Will it go through him?
It'll dissolve him.
Terry?
Oh, Keith!
Oh, the door was open. I came right in.
Oh, here's Father. He just got in this morning.
Well, this is indeed a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, young man. I'm glad to know you.
Terry has told me so much about you. I've been looking forward to this meeting for a long time.
Well, that's very good of you.
Keith, what are you up to?
You never told me, Teresa, that you and your father had such a strong resemblance. That same fine brow, those deep-set, thoughtful eyes.
Keith, will you stop it? What is this act anyhow?
It's no act. What are you talking about?
Well, I guess you'll do. Well, children, I've got to be off. You said 1:15, Terry.
Yes, Father, I'll pick you up at your hotel.
Understand we're seeing you later, is that right?
What? Oh, yes.
Now, Dad, I can't tell you how grand it is to have you here. And now, don't cross against the lights, and promise to take taxis. Don't try and find places yourself.
All right, all right.
And I'll be at your hotel at 1:15.
I'll be waiting.
Goodbye, darling.
Goodbye.
Really, Keith, you can be so maddening. What was all that? Yes, sir, and how are you, sir?
Can I be polite?
One of the least convincing performances I ever saw.
That's right. Hit a fellow when he's down.
Keith, what's the matter?
I come to you in one of the toughest spots I was ever in my life, and you jump all over me.
Oh, Keith, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. How could I? What is it? Is it the play?
Yes.
They all turned it down?
No.
Keith, tell me!
I could sign a contract this afternoon.
You don't mean it! Who is?
Gilman.
Gilman! Why, he's the best there is!
I know. That's what makes it so tough.
Oh, Keith, you're not being unreasonable about this. A Gilman production? Why, it's... Keith, no matter what he wants you to do, you've got to do it. What's he want you to change, the second act?
No. He likes to play all right. He's nuts about it.
Well, then I just don't understand. What?
I can't let him have it. That's all.
Keith, it's me. He doesn't want me.
Well, you see, Gilman's got Natalie Blake under contract, and she is a big star, and it just so happens to be the kind of part she's been looking for.
Did you tell him you thought I would be good at it?
Of course! I gave him a hell of an argument. He just won't do it unless Blake is in it.
Well, then that's... that. I wouldn't do anything to... I bow out, Keith.
Gosh, Terry, you mean you would really do that for me?
The play is the important thing, Keith. I love every single line of it. You didn't think after the way we've worked on it for a whole year that I would stand in the way, did you?
God, you're wonderful, Terry. You're a great kid. I'm crazy about you.
Please, Keith.
There isn't one girl in a million who would have taken it like that, and I love you for it. Love you. Do you hear?
Yes, Keith.
I knew I could count on you too.
Terry, will you do something for me?
What? Oh, hello, Linda.
I don't want
Missy Orcutt. Will you give her a message for me?
Yes, of course.
Tell her I'm leaving. I'll send for my things this afternoon. Give her this. It's for the whole week.
Linda, what's the matter? You're moving where?
You bet I'm moving fast. Nobody will ever know where.
What was all that about?
I don't know. She's a strange girl.
Well, look, I've got to run. Gilman's waiting in the office for me, and he's lining up a hell of a cast. I'm meeting Natalie Blake this evening, and we're gonna have dinner.
Tonight? Keith, you're having dinner with Father and me.
Oh, for God's sake, Terry, I get a chance like this with a top manager and a big star, and you expect me to say I can't meet you tonight? I've got to have dinner with my girl and her father? That's what you want me to say, I suppose.
No. No.
I'll do the best I can. You know that. This whole thing is for you as much as for me. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then, now look, darling.
Hey, what are you doing back?
They let me out.
Okay.
There was another girl rehearsing when I got there. I'm fired.
But they can't do that. How long have you been rehearsing?
They still could. This was the 7th day.
Darling, don't let it upset you. It happens to all of us. To me, it's just a part of this crazy business.
Terry, I haven't a cent.
So I've still got my radio job. We'll get by.
Terry, don't try to fool me. I know about the radio job. You only have 2 more weeks, and I can't take any more money from you. I owe you more than $100.
What of it? Now look, come and have lunch with Dad and me. Come on down to my radio rehearsal.
No, Terry! I couldn't. I just couldn't. Don't bother about me. I'm all right.
It's tough.
Darling, I hate to leave you like this. Don't be low.
Don't worry about me, Terry. I'm all right. Thank you.
This meant everything to her.
The season's just begun. She'll find something else. Now, look. You and your dad have a nice dinner someplace, and leave my ticket at the box office, and I'll be along just as soon as I can. Will you do that, sweet?
Yes.
Okay, that's my girl. You're the swellest kid that ever lived.
Oh, Maddie, where's Mrs. Orcutt?
Back in her room.
What is it? Up in the hall! She drank something! No! No! What is it? What happened? What happened? Kay, did you hear me? Oh, look at her! Okay, darling, what did you do? Look at her face! Let me hold her. Hey! Kay! What did she swallow? What was it? Oh, this is terrible!
Want me to clear the room?
Pour a little there!
Here's a bottle, don't say nothing on it.
I'll get a doctor!
It's no use. She's...
It'll be in all the papers. I never should have let her stay here. I knew it from the start. There was something about her. She was different from the rest of you.
Oh, don't say that! That could have been any one of us! She was just a girl without a job! Like... That might have been any one of us!
Hello, sugar.
I didn't keep you waiting, did I?
No.
Just look at your tie. I declare I don't see how I can keep on loving you the way you get yourself up.
Go on. Everybody knows you're crazy about me.
I sure enough am. I just can't sleep or eat.
Honest, honey?
Mm-hmm. Where are we going to have dinner?
what do you want to do all evening? I'm sick of movies and you don't want to sit around here.
Tell you what, let's go see Keith Burgess' play.
Keith Burgess's play? You must be out of your mind. The paper says seats 8 weeks in advance and 50 standees last night.
2 more won't matter. That's all I want to do, stand up.
Yes, but I don't think we ought to ask.
Good Lord, you don't want to pay, do you?
Pay? For theater? You must be out of your mind.
Did you put a new electric bulb up in Miss Kendall's room?
I will.
Did you give Miss Kay that telephone message from Mr. Kingsley?
Land's sakes, I forgot.
Well, you better tell her he's important, and you can close up the dining room. Everybody's been in there that's going to eat. Well, I declare.
Hello, Judith.
Well, if you don't want to play,
Pixie, eh?
Miss Terry will be right down.
you were more fun in the other costume.
You better watch your figure eating those bananas. Starches and show business don't go together.
They do in my show. I got nothing to compete with but elephants.
Idiots really go to those childish things, pay money.
Say, you can't have all the idiots. You're doing pretty good. Give us some of the overflow.
I suppose you know we broke house record last week.
Oh, sure. I stayed up all Saturday night to get the returns.
Wisecracker.
So sorry, Mr. Burgess. At the last minute, I had a run in my stocking, and I had 2.
Well, I'll leave you two young people together.
Keith, did you remember to bring the glass slipper?
What's the idea, Terry? I told you on the phone we were dressing.
I thought you were joking. You said, we'll dress, of course, and I said, of course. But I didn't dream you were serious.
We're going to an opening night, sitting 3rd row center.
Downstairs?
Where do you think?
Well, darling, we've been to openings before, and we've always sat in the gallery.
Gallery? We're through at the gallery. I've got a table at 21 for dinner, and after we're invited to a party at Gilman's penthouse. Can't go like that.
Oh, don't worry. Just give me 10 minutes. I'll go up and change.
Oh, dear.
What's the matter?
I loaned my evening dress to Susan.
Oh, for God's...
Don't worry. I'll borrow Judy's pink. Oh, no. Olga's wearing it.
This is the damnedest dump I was ever in. A sordid kind of life. Wearing each other's clothes. I suppose you use each other's toothbrushes, too.
Would you rather I didn't go, Keith?
I didn't say that.
Yes, but would you rather?
Oh, now you're playing for tragedy. What's the matter with you anyhow?
There's nothing the matter with me, Keith. I just can't see us as 3rd row first nighters. We always went to see the play, Keith. That whole crowd, it makes the audience more important than the show.
Listen, I don't like them any better than you do. They mean nothing to me.
Then why do you bother with them?
They can't hurt me. I watch them as you'd watch a hill of ants. Insects, that's what they are.
Keith, listen. You wrote your last play about people you understood and liked. You knew them, and they gave you something. You'll starve to death in 3rd row center.
I'm going back, I'm no fool. They're keeping my room just as it was.
Keeping your room? How do you mean?
I don't want to talk about it now. Let's get out of here.
But Keith, I've got to know. Do you mean you've moved without even telling me?
Oh, I was going to break it to you later. I knew you'd jump on me, but as long as you've come this far, I'm going to Hollywood.
Hollywood!
Yes, to write for the pictures.
No, Keith!
Now don't start all over again. If you don't watch yourself, you become one of those nagging.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Goodbye.
Let's get out of here.
But Keith, you can't go to Hollywood. I won't let you. You said you'd never go, no matter how broke you were. But now that your play's a big hit, you're going. Why? Why?
Well, I didn't want it before it was a hit.
Keith, listen.
I know what you're going to say. All that junk about how it's going to shrivel up my soul. Listen, I'm going to use Hollywood. It's not going to use me. I'm staying a year at $2,000 a week. That's $100,000. I'll write their garbage during the daytime, but at night, I'll write my own plays.
But will you? That's what I'm afraid of. Will you?
You bet I will. And in between, I'll keep fit with sunshine and swimming and tennis and...
Little ermine jackets up to here.
Huh?
It doesn't matter.
Believe me, you'll never catch me out their Trocaderos or their brown derbies.
When are you going, Keith?
I don't know. Next week?
Well, goodbye.
What?
Goodbye, Keith. And good luck. It's been swell.
Terry! What's the... Terry! Terry! Terry!
she can hear us?
She might.
Wasn't it terrible?
I thought I'd die.
Poor Terry.
I never did like him.
Me neither.
Look, better head back up or she'll be suspicious.
Yes, be very quiet.
Shall we ask her if we can do anything?
No!
Does Miss Terry Randall happen to be in?
Yes, I think so. Will you come right in? What's the name, sir?
Mr. Kingsley.
Oh yeah, you're the gentleman telephone. I clean forgot to tell Miss Terry.
Well, as long as she's here.
Yes. I told you you was here,
Oh, thank you.
and I told her about the phone call too.
Why, Mr. Kingsley, how dramatic. You're just in the nick of time.
I'm glad of that. What's happened?
Oh, sort of an emotional crisis. I dashed upstairs to have a good cry, buried my head in the pillow just like you're supposed to, and guess what?
What?
The tears wouldn't come. In fact, I felt sort of relieved and light, as though I'd just gotten over a fever.
How disappointing. Like not being able to sneeze.
Perhaps I'll be able to manage it later. Tonight.
If a shoulder would be any help.
No thanks. I'm afraid I have to handle this alone. Do take your coat off.
Thanks. This is a rather strange hour for me to drop in. I did telephone.
Oh, Frank doesn't believe in phone messages.
They do in Hollywood. They just called me up. Can you take a plane for California tomorrow?
Me? What for?
They didn't say the part was exactly. Sort of a character comedy, I believe. Of course, they put the picture in production first, then start looking for the cast. The Alice in Wonderland method. At any rate, they're looking for a new face for this particular part. They ran all the screen tests they had on file and finally came down one of yours. So, there you are. And, oh, yes, they want to know in 20 minutes. Of course, it's only 4:30 on the coast.
You're joking.
No, all important things are decided in 20 minutes out there. The more trivial ones take years. Shall I phone them that you'll be there?
Why, I don't know.
You don't mean to say you're hesitating.
But it's so fantastic. How could I?
My dear child, may I tell you something? I've been watching you for several seasons. You've been in the theater for 3 years. You've appeared in perhaps a half a dozen plays, and I wouldn't call any of them exactly hits, would you? And one of 2 of them closed before the week was over.
You've been doing a lot of detective work.
No, I didn't need to. I know all about you.
You do? That's a little frightening.
It's part of my business, watching the good ones. And you are good. You've got fire and variety and a magnetic quality that's felt you when you walk on stage.
Oh, don't stop!
But off stage, you're nothing at all. When you walk into the office, the average manager doesn't see anything there. You might be the little girl who comes and delivers the costumes. They wouldn't see that spark. If Elizabeth Bergner walked to them unknown, or Helen Hayes, what would they see? Little anemic wits that looks as if you could do with a sandwich and a glass of milk. But put them on stage, and it's as if you have lighted 1,000 incandescent bulbs behind their eyes. That's acting. That's talent. That's you.
Now I am going to cry.
But what if they never see what's hitting you? Suppose you never see it. You might go tramping for 20 years and never get your chance. That's the stage.
20 years?
But let's say you do go to Hollywood. They'll know what to do with you there. Allow you guys to fill those hollows. Only take your right profile. That's the good one. Shade the nose a trifle. Perhaps a celluloid cap over those 2 teeth. Yes, then make you very pretty. Then you play in this picture. 50 million people see you. Fan mail, next time a better part, no tramping up and down Broadway, no worries about money, a 7-year contract. Your salary every week, whether you work or not. And if you make a really big hit, like Gene, they'll tear up your contract and give you a better one.
But wouldn't they let me do just 1 or 2 pictures instead of the 7-year thing?
I'm afraid not. If you make a really big hit, they don't want another studio to reap the benefit. That's not unreasonable, is it?
No, I suppose not. Everything you say is absolutely sound and true, but you see, Mr. Kingsley, the trouble with me is I'm stage struck. This theater beats me and starves me and forsakes me, but I love it. I guess that's just kind of the girl I am. You know, rather live in a garret with her true love than dwell in a palace with old money bags.
But it looks as though your true love kicked you out of the garret.
Oh, if there was just somebody. Oh, Mr. Kingsley, won't you help me? Won't you tell me what to do?
Me?
Please.
But I work for the picture company.
But if you didn't.
I think you ought to tell them to go to hell.
What?
Go out there and let them do all those things to you. That lovely little face. And for what? So that in a few years they can throw you out the ash heap? The theater may be slow and heartbreaking, but if you build solidly, you've got something at the end of 7 years, in 17, in 27. Look at Katharine Cornell, and Lynn Fontaine, and Alfred Lunt. They tramped Broadway in their day, and they worked like horses, and trooped the country, and stuck to it. And now, they've got something that no one else in the world can take away from them. And what's John Barrymore got? A yacht.
You're wonderful.
Are you going to go to Hollywood?
No!
Will you go to dinner?
Oh, yes.
That's really all I came to ask you.
Oh, just a minute.